Hello person watching this video. Welcome back to Mac Music Review. Before I hop into the actual review, just want to say that there's some stuff down in the description you might want to read. What I'm reviewing next, you can see how to request an album, just all that good stuff down in the comments before we go on with the review. Today, we are going to be reviewing the album The Click by AJR. AJR is a band of brothers. The name stands for Aaron, Jack, and Ryan, the first name of all the brothers. Their last name is Met. And these guys, or by the time you're watching this video, these guys are sort of well known. They've had at least 3 radio hits. All not huge hits, except for the most recent, which is called Burn the House Down, which is featured on the deluxe version of this album. Now, before I explain why I think this album is so amazing, why I love this album so much, I just want to tell you, what is this album? What is The Click? The Click is like the anti-pop album. It's very, very weird. It's everything you would not expect to hear from pop music. It's like reverse messages. I'll get into it when I break down the track listing, but this thing is just very strange lyrics for the genre it's in. The first song on this album, Overture, is just an instrumental. It is a combination, it's like a big mix of all of the songs on this album. Until Overture, I have never seen this on an album. I've never seen a song on a pop album, an alternative album, a rap album, any album that literally mixes every single song in the album into just this like crazy, really climactic, huge musical feat. I mean, I've never seen that before, and it really blew me away when I first heard it. The next song, you'd think it'd be like a love song in the pop genre. You'd think it'd be a love song, something you can dance to, something really upbeat, something really fun, something really sad, something along those lines. But this song is about wonder. This song is about life. This is about like the meaning of life, kind of. It's in the song they're trying to break down, is this the good, like life is like a movie to them. And they're like, is this the good part right now? Is this the best years of my life? Is it what's going on right now? And then the song they say, I've done this. I've smoked weed. I've done this. I've partied. And they're like, is this it? Is this what's amazing in life? Is this the whole point of everything? They don't word it exactly like I did it. They don't do it as, they do, the lyrics are pretty overt. They don't really try to hide the message, but it's not exactly how I word it, but that's basically the gist of the song. It's kind of like AJR is having a midlife crisis, because these guys are still pretty young. They're right now, they're like, is this it? Is this all we have? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing right now? So they're not in their 40s or 50s, but they're already asking the big questions. Turning Out is one of the most interesting songs on the album. It's like the good part, it's one of the slower ones. And in the song, he basically says, he's talking to someone, or he's singing to someone who thinks that he turned out to be a good person. And he's like, I think I'm still turning out. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be like. I don't know how I'm going to turn out. In the bridge, he says, I'm a little kid with so much doubt. Don't you want to be there to see how I turn out? Pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting. And the rest of the song, he's talking about, he's in a relationship, and he's like, should I be in this relationship? He says that, he mentions Disney movies and says, I grew up on Disney. In the relationship, he says, this is supposed to feel like love, right? This relationship, he's with someone, but he's like, I'm not feeling it. It's not like it is in the Disney movies. It's like, this is weird. It's not as simple as these movies make it seem. And so it is a really interesting song. It is, lyrics wise, this is definitely one that makes you think a little bit. Call My Dad is a non-song. This is like an interlude, and it's, at first hearing this song, it is very, very unpleasant. The song has like, this interlude, I thought this was a song the first time I heard it. It's like 2 minutes and 18 seconds long, and it has like no music. It's just this extremely auto-tuned voice, and on the song, Jack isn't really singing. He's more just speaking. He rhymes, but he's more just speaking. Once more, this song conveys the anti-pop message, kind of. In the song, he describes a crazy night. He said, Last night, I'm going to paraphrase because the original is explicit, last night got really weird. He talks about how he just went out with friends, how they got drunk, they did some things, and they ended up sleeping at somebody else's house, and it was just crazy. And he says, now after it all, I just really want to call my dad. Bud Like You is a very light, upbeat song. This one's kind of goofy. In the song, it has a similar message to Call My Dad. In the song, Jack sings about how he's at a party, and it's kind of funny. He's making fun of the party. He looks at a disco ball and said, who would invest in that when nobody's even looking at it? And he says, why is the DJ here if he's only pressing play? Just kind of these funny, negative comments about this party he's at in someone's basement. And he's talking to a friend on the phone. He says, I'm glad I got a bud like you to drive and pick me up and take me out of this party. Once more, very goofy song. Very goofy. Just kind of weird. Just kind of goofy. But once more, anti-pop message. He's not having a great time at the party. He's like, you're awesome because you have a car and you can take me out of this party that I don't want to be at. I tried to not make this part biased, but my original intention when I went through this, going through the track listing, I was just going to tell you what each song was, and specifically lyrically. I didn't say much about the music, but I meant to just go over the lyrics and say, what it actually says. But you could probably tell that I really like this album. You could see my positive reactions toward it. Lyrically, this album is just so interesting. It is so different. If I had to describe this album with one word, to describe the lyrics and the music and the whole album, I would say unconventional. This thing is just so original and so weird, especially for the genre it's in. Pop music doesn't sound like this. Pop music doesn't bring up these themes. It's just really interesting stuff. Super duper original. Just very unique music and extremely unique lyrics. This record, like the lyrics, the music on this record is insanely unique. This record does not sound like any other album I've ever heard, ever. This album, this is like a mobile orchestra. They have every instrument and sound under the sun, whether it be classical instruments like violin on Sober Up, or drums, or guitar, or even flute. On 330, you hear like a flute and stuff. And I mean, they just have, and lots of piano. I mean, just tons of music. Lots of different instruments being played on one song. I mean, like, just crazy amount of instrumentation on this record. Another thing I love about this record musically, one, the music is just, there's so much variety. These guys actually have real instruments. They bring them all together and they just mash them together. And it's just crazy. This thing just sounds amazing. This doesn't sound like any other pop album, any other album at all. It's so well put together. It just sounds amazing. But another thing I love about this record is how almost every song on this record goes out with a bang. Pop music likes bridges. Rock music likes bridges. But what I love about this album is that the bridges work super well. Basically, every song on this album, it's you got verse, chorus, and then before the album ends, it doesn't just go another simple verse, anticlimactic or an anticlimactic bridge, and then chorus. Normally, the bridge and then chorus. Normally what they do with the bridge is they'll do this little EDM style, AJR style EDM music thing, where they mash together a bunch of sounds and vocal samples, and they'll just mash them all together, and it'll play, and then the chorus will hit. And it's just always these just huge, just really big moments. This is especially noticeable on Come Hang Out. They do it on Drama. They do it on No Grass Today. They do this on most of the songs on this record. The songs that don't have this, the most noticeable lack of this is on the song 330, which is definitely one of the weakest songs on the album musically, and lyrically it's just kind of so-so. I have been very positive thus far. Told you I love the music on this record. I love the lyrics. But, I mean, are there any low points? Is there anything wrong with this record? Unfortunately, when I first started listening to this thing, I thought it was like amazing. I thought it was just like a perfect album. I love this thing. My all-music review, I literally gave this 5 stars. I realize now that that's kind of ambitious. It's definitely not a 5-star album. Number one drawback for this album is, it would be the vocals. The singing on this record is sometimes a little bit awkward. Jack hits these really crazy high notes that just get kind of annoying. Actually, the more you listen to it, listen to this thing over and over again, and listening to this out loud with other people around, you start to notice how it's just kind of awkward sometimes. He's very ambitious, and he just kind of goes, just, I'm not gonna do anything, but he just kind of goes really, it makes his voice really high, and it's kind of awkward. Another really awkward thing is on the song 330, where he like raps, and it's just kind of weird. I mean, it's not terrible, but it really doesn't sound great, and it's a little bit awkward. Of course, my other really big issue is the song Weak. Lyrically, this thing is it's not just not good. It's not just meh. This is like a bad message. These are bad lyrics. These are just not good lyrics, not a good theme. The other song I really don't care for too much is 330. 330 just really, the rapping on it just doesn't sound great. The music on it doesn't sound great. And it doesn't end on a high note. Like all the other songs on this record go out with a bang, and this one just kind of fizzles out. And it has some interesting themes in the lyrics, but musically this one just doesn't sound great. The vocals are just not great on this one. But that's about it. That's about all the negatives I have for this thing. I mean, besides a few awkward singing, some of the lyrics are I wouldn't say awkward. The lyrics are very quirky. And I can definitely see someone not liking this record because of just how weird AJR is. They wear their weirdness with pride. They have tons of character. Their weirdness is a big part of the band's personality. But I can definitely see that turning someone off and making them not like the band. But I love this album nonetheless. I'm going to give this thing a 4.25. If that was a star rating, it would be an 8.5. I do not want to give this thing a 9. A 9 for me is amazing. A 4.5 is an amazing. It's really hard to call this thing amazing with the singing and just the singing and some of, weak. Not every song sounds truly amazing. A lot of these songs really do sound great, but this record has so much going for it. Fantastic originality. What I love in music, I've said this before, what I love in music is originality. Is someone that stands out, is someone that stands different, someone who tries new things. And on the click, AJR tries all of the new things. They do everything under the sun, all the stuff I've never heard before, all the stuff I never would have thought I would ever hear before, with the music and the lyrics. And it's just awesome. These guys, this album has tons of personality, tons of quirkiness, tons of stuff that make it memorable, that make it fun. This album just has so much going for it. It's got great production, really interesting lyrics, tons of personality. I mean, those are three things that make a great album. If you do all those three things and do them all well, that's a great album. I'm going to say this album's almost amazing. 8.5, 4.25 if it was a star rating. This thing is pretty great. What do you guys think of this album? Do you guys love this album? Do you guys hate this album? I mean, I know a lot of people hate this album. I love it. Tons and tons of people hate it, especially music critics, which really baffles me. I can understand where some of the hate is coming from. The lyrics are very, very strange, just basically because of how weird these guys are. I love this weirdness. I think weird does not mean bad. And this is definitely, there can be bad weird, but this is good weird. This is personality. This is originality. This is just really great stuff for me. Some critics hate the lyrics. Some people hate the production, which I think is just really strange. And I can understand people disliking the singing because it's not always great. But, I mean, I love this record. Tell me what you guys think about this. Is there anything I can do better? Am I really dumb? I think this is the best background I've had so far. Best lighting I've had so far. I'm actually really impressed with this. The Christmas tree looks good. I think the hallway looks good. It's pretty bright. I like my hat. I think this is pretty solid. But for my next review, I'm reviewing AJR's Living Room, their debut album. So stay tuned for that album, especially if you like this review. Alrighty, guys. Person watching this video, have a good day.